for me. Should have known right away when it felt too good to be true. 'Cause you never said what you mean to say. So anyway, you look at it, I'm confused. If you can see where this is gonna lead, reach for me. Don't wanna wait another day without you. Take me to higher ground. Come on, reach for me. I can't wait another day without you. Take me to higher ground. We'll be safe and sound. Reach for me. Reach for me. Got it all figured out. You decide what's best.
Well, good evening and welcome to the February 24th City Council study session. And we have a full house today. I think you guys are all excited about our consent agenda tonight, right? In addition to our consent agenda tonight, we have service recognitions, retirement recognitions, proclamations, and recognitions. So we're excited that you're all here. We're really blessed to see the robust talent tonight in Chandler that we also have opportunity to recognize tonight. So we will start with our scheduled public appearances, and I would like to invite Councilmember Huang to join me in front. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I would ask Ryan Peters, our Governmental Relations and Policy Manager, to come forward and make the first presentation for service recognition.
Thank you, City Manager. I'd ask Holly Granillo to please step forward for her 20-year service recognition. Holly began her career in the City Clerk's office and has served Chandler in a variety of departments, gaining firsthand knowledge of the many services Chandler provides. Her knowledge and friendly willingness to help residents earned Holly the nickname City Holly. Holly's commitment to the community extends to service to our country in the Naval Reserve. Recently, she returned from her third deployment and joined the Transportation Policy Division. In her career, Holly helped streamline the agenda collection process and public records retention process. She helped procure equipment for public safety and was once a puppeteer in the Sprinklers Clubhouse videos. She even dressed up as graffiti busting mascot. During her tenure, she earned her bachelor's degree from NAU and is a certified public manager. Holly was deployed in her 20-year anniversary, which was in March, but we're pleased to recognize her and thank you for her dedicated service.
This time, I would ask Andy Bass, our Community Services Director, to come forward and make his presentation.
Good evening, thank you. I'd like to invite Mike Kiwius to come up, be recognized. Today is a special day because we're recognizing Mike for his 30 years of service with the City of Chandler, as well as celebrating his retirement next week, March 3rd. Mike began his career with the city in 1990 as a groundskeeper. Since then, he's worked his way up through the organization to his current role as Parks Maintenance Supervisor. He's responsible for 3 crews and the maintenance of 31 parks. Early in Mike's career with the city, he worked at the Chandler Sports Complex, now known as Snedeker Sportsplex, to help maintain the ball fields for the Milwaukee Brewers. He has been involved with many projects over the years, including building Pueblo Alto Park, renovating ball fields, planting thousands of trees and plants, installing sewer lines, and building the original Ostrich Festival track, where the downtown library parking lot is now located. Mike has also been instrumental in building the annual tumbleweed tree for the past 20 years. He is a professional, and he's dedicated himself to provide the highest level of service to our citizens. We congratulate Mike for his 30 years of service and wish him a very happy retirement.
I would ask Sandeep Dalakia, our Chief Information Officer, to come forward and make his presentation.
The Mayor, council members, I'd like to invite Mitch Robinson to the front to receive his 15 years recognition of service with the City of Chandler. Mitch works with all of the departments to align business, security, regulatory compliance, and cybersecurity frameworks that achieve its strategic and operational as well as tactical security goals. He's provided oversight and guidance on our security standards, networking and cabling needs for many construction projects, including the City Hall. The city's current security policies are due to Mitch's efforts in writing them and getting them approved over the years. Mitch and our city teams have moved forward successfully completing security vulnerability scans, leading and remediating efforts that increase resistance to cyber attack. He is also the genesis of all security-related training and communications delivered to all city employees, including the new employee orientation. It's truly a pleasure to work with Mitch. I learn from him every day, and his customers consistently recognize his customer service-oriented mindset. Congratulations, Mitch, on your 15-year anniversary.
This time I would ask Dawn Lang, our Management Services Director, to make her presentation.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, and Council. I'd like to ask Karina Castrion to come forward and be recognized for 15 years of service. There she is. We'll wait for her to get out of the middle. Okay, so Karina has actually joined Management Services Department Utility Services Division back in 2005 as a utility billing representative after working 2 years as a cooperative office education student for the Municipal Utilities Division. In 2012, Karina was promoted to the lead utility billing representative, and in May 2015, she was promoted to her current position as the customer service supervisor. She's been pivotal in multiple billing software upgrades during the last 5 years. She's responsible for overseeing nearly 60,000 phone calls a year and training her team to provide a quality customer service experience, both in person and over the phone. Her passion, besides spending time with family and hiking, is customer service, and she is extremely mindful of how the customer service her team provides, and that it is a reflection on the city's experience for our residents. Thank you for all you do, Karina. Congratulations on 15 years of service with the City of Chandler. We're lucky to have you.
All right, I would ask Police Chief Sean Duggan to come forward and make his presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'd like to ask Tanya Keaton to come forward to recognize her 25 years of service with the City of Chandler. Tanya began her career with the police department in 1995 as a dispatcher, where she spent 5 years receiving, coordinating, and disseminating critical information from various sources to our officers out on the street. In 2000, Tanya took on a new assignment and became the department's training coordinator, where she is well known throughout the department for her significant multitasking skills. And year after year, she has demonstrated her ability to take on numerous projects at once and consistently deliver top quality work. As the department's training coordinator, Tanya maintains 100% compliance with governing bodies such as OSHA, CLIA, and AZ Post. She's the primary facilitator of the department's annual General Instructor School and the Police Leadership Cohort. Tanya also chairs the Valley-wide Police Training Coordinators Group and serves as a team leader on the department's Critical Incident Stress Management team. And over the course of her career, Tanya has received various awards and commendations, including the department's Meritorious Service Award, Employee of the Year, and a Unit Citation Award. And additionally, Tanya has received values alerts, administrative days off, and countless accolades from coworkers and regional partners. So Tanya, thank you for 25 years of service and dedication to the city and to the police department.
Mayor, that concludes the service recognitions, but we do have one retirement recognition. So I would ask our presiding magistrate, David Fuller, to come forward and make that presentation.
Thank you, City Manager, Mr. Mayor, council members. We'd like to congratulate Elizabeth Velasquez on her retirement from the City of Chandler. Liz started with the Chandler Municipal Court in September 2001. She was extremely proficient in tracking our court files, docketing files for court, and preparing future court dates for court files within our case management system. This is not an easy task with thousands of court files to manage. Liz, you are definitely our go-to person for finding files and making sure each courtroom had all files listed for their daily dockets. Liz's service does not end with the court. For years, she volunteered for ICANN in Chandler and also spends time with Arizona State University working in their testing labs. For over 18 years, you were a valuable member of the Chandler Municipal Court and an enjoyable presence as well. Congratulations, Liz, on your retirement. We wish you all the best.
All right, we've got a couple proclamations tonight. The first is the Chandler Ostrich Festival. So I would like to call up Steve Levine, Ralph Garliglio, and Michael Garza, and the infamous Tutu. I might be mistaken, but I think you've had a growth spurt since last year, Tutu. What are you guys feeding her down at the chamber there? It's working. Well, let me read a proclamation. The Ostrich Festival is entering its 32nd year as a signature event for the city of Chandler, and the Ostrich Festival celebrates the colorful period from 1888 to 1916, when Chandler and Maricopa County led the nation in ostrich feather production. And whereas the 2020 Chandler Ostrich Festival will feature live entertainment, games, foods, crafts, and ostrich races, and whereas the 2020 Chandler Ostrich Festival runs March 13th through March 15th at Tumbleweed Park, and whereas we invite the entire community to take part in this exciting weekend of the Chandler Ostrich Festival, now therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim March 9th through 15th, 2020 as Chase and Ostrich Fest, wait a second, no, as Ostrich Festival Week. And would either both of the co-chairs like to say something?
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome to the 32nd Annual Chandler Chamber of Commerce Ostrich Festival. This is where you cheer. Your host, Ralphie G, and boy, have we got a weekend in store for you. But first, do not forget Saturday, March the 7th, right here in downtown at the police station, we will have the 19th Annual Chandler Car Show along with Police and Fire Public Safety Day. So show up 9 to 1 at the police station Saturday, March the 7th. Now, on to the festival. We have a huge lineup. We have a kitty carnival. We have a carnival for the not-so-kitties. We also have acts, their death-defying acts. We have live on stage will be Baby Shark with a meet and greet as well. And then great food, absolutely great food. It's not festival food. It's really, really good food. Friday night on stage, on our main stage, 98 Degrees. Saturday night on our main stage, Blues Traveler. Sunday night on our main stage, Pointer Sisters. So come out and join us. We are open 11 to midnight on Friday, 10 to midnight Saturday, 10 to 11 on Sunday. I will be looking for each and every one of you there. Thank you.
We're hoping for 78 degrees when 98 degrees is performing. All right. Next, we have a proclamation for the Disability Awareness Month. The Mayor's Committee for People with Disabilities serve as a liaison between the City Council and the citizens of Chandler to increase awareness and accessibility and to provide programs for individuals with disabilities who live in Chandler. This time, I'd like to invite Jeff Deaver, the chairperson of the Mayor's Committee for People with Disabilities, and Colette Prather, recreational coordinator, to join me to accept the proclamation declaring the month of March as Disabilities Awareness Month. Whereas the month of March has been observed annually as Disabilities Awareness Month in Arizona and has been recognized through joint resolution by the Congress of the United States and by presidential proclamation, and whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the rights of individuals with disabilities to live independently, enjoy self-determination, make choices, contribute to society, and experience fully in the economic, political, social, cultural, and educational mainstream of American society. And whereas the Mayor's Committee for People with Disabilities was formed to serve as a liaison between the City Council and the general community in matters related to people with disabilities. And whereas the City of Chandler aims to provide individuals with disabilities the opportunities and support to make informed choices and decisions, live in homes and communities where such individuals can exercise their full rights and responsibilities as citizens, pursue meaningful and productive lives, contribute to their family, community, state, and nation, have independent friendships and relationships with others, and achieve full inclusion in society. And whereas the Chandler Mayor's Committee for People with Disabilities desire to perform a public service by officially recognizing people with disabilities as an important element in our community. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, Arizona, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2020 as Disabilities Awareness Month in Chandler, and I encourage everyone to actively and appropriately participate in inclusive activities. Furthermore, I encourage the citizens of Chandler to seek counsel and input from the Mayor's Committee for People of Disabilities in matters concerning disabilities. All right, let's take a picture. And I believe, Colette, you're going to help us introduce people.
Mayor, City Council, my privilege to introduce the award winners tonight. Can I have Brant Fox and David Kwok come up to be recognized as Students of the Year? Brant attends Shumway Leadership Academy. He is always happy, always smiling, and being silly, and is positive about life. He loves school and loves to learn. He has a desire, like all of us, to have friends, and this year he had his first sleepover and currently participates in Cub Scouts. One of the comments in his nomination states, "Words cannot express how proud I am of this kid. He has strength and determination unlike anyone I have met. Brent has learned to love reading and is an active participant in the robotics club at his school. Brent, you truly are a student of the year and an inspiration to all of us." David Kwok is our other student of the year. This year, Chandler Unified School District opened the PLACE program, a program that teaches students about life after high school. And David attends there with his peers to transition to work from high school. His nomination reads, "David is a patient, kind young man who has high standards for himself. He prides himself in setting goals to improve academically and personally. He also has great rapport with his peers and teachers. David has a great sense of humor, a good work ethic, and is the nicest young man I have ever met." Thank you, David, for having high standards and for being an outstanding student. Brant and David, you are truly an inspiration to everyone, and you deserve to be selected and recognized as the Chandler Mayor's Committee for People with Disabilities Students of the Year. Well, we got two more. Should I do two more? Okay, and we have two more, Educators of the Year. This year, the committee would like next to recognize two individuals, Mrs. Carolyn Cook and Mr. Peter Ting, as the Educators of the Year. Caroline Cook teaches high school students at Chandler Unified School District. Mrs. Cook was nominated by one of her students who has been impressed with her ever since he first met her. Her nomination reads, "Mrs. Cook is an excellent teacher in special education to special education students at Perry High School. She's very patient with her students even when they get upset. She's always happy even though she has a hard job and doesn't make very much money." Thank you, Mrs. Cook, for being a role model and a great educator. Mr. Peter Ting is an educator at the Chandler Place program. Mr. Ting has been instrumental in thinking outside the box and creating real-life jobs to further help students prepare for meaningful employment. His nomination reads in part, "Mr. Ting conducts himself in a professional manner in his interactions with staff and students. He constantly strives to expand his understanding of teaching strategies and to acquire knowledge in diverse areas to create a well-rounded educational experience for his students. Mr. Ting, with teachers like you, our students can transition out of high school to employment and a bright future." Thank you, Ms. Carolyn Cook and Mr. Peter Ting, and congratulations for being awarded the 2020 Educators of the Year.
We have one more recognition. Boy, isn't there a lot going on in Chandler? This one is for the Creative Expression Competition. I'd like to call up Priscilla Quintana to present the winners.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Oops. During the month of January, the City of Chandler, in conjunction with the Human Relations Commission, Celebration of Unity Planning Committee, the East Valley Jewish Community Center, Chandler Men of Action, and Sister Cities has presented several events to the community in honor of our diversity. Tonight, we are focusing on the annual Creative Expression Competition. The competition is open to any kindergarten through 12th grade student living in or attending a Chandler school. All students were encouraged to submit an entry in the writing or visual arts category. This year's competition theme was One World, Out of Many, We Are One. And now I would like to announce the names of the competition winners for the writing category, and I will begin with the third place. Viviana Pena, 8th grader at Bogle Junior High. Her teacher is Sherry Weiss. Principal is Nathan Fairchild, and the title of her piece is Climate Change, It's All Up to Us. And we will do one group picture with the first category, if that's okay with you, Mayor. In second place, we have Kiana Kimball, 7th grader at Bogle Junior High. Her teacher is also Ms. Sherry Weiss, Principal Nathan Fairchild, and the title of her piece is One Ever Expanding Universe. Kiana. In first place for the writing category, we have Tara Nair, 5th grader at Knox Gifted. Her teacher is Ms. Vogt, principal is Lynn Weed, and the title of her piece is Unity in Diversity. In the 9th through 12th grade level, in third place, we have Samantha Suarez, 12th grader at Castile High School. Her teacher is Ms. Carr, principal is Jason Phyllis, and the title of her piece is Handheld Together. I don't believe she made it this evening. In second place, we have Zara Jahan, 11th grader at Hamilton High School. Principal is Michael De La Torre, and the title of her piece is One World. In first place for the 9th through 12th grade level, we have Eventika Mitvander, 12th grader at Hamilton High School. Her teacher is Miss Stanford. Principal is Michael De La Torre, and the title of her piece is Horns Up. And this concludes the category for the writing portion of this piece. Thank you. And now we will present the visual category. In the kindergarten through 4th grade level, in third place, we have Cameron Stillwell, 3rd grader at Tarwater Elementary. Teacher is Ying Xiao. Principal is Diane Hale. And the title of his piece is One World. Or her world, I'm sorry. Her. In second place, we have Isaac Isaacson, 4th grader at Knox Gifted. Teacher's name is Mr. Miller and Miss Contreras. Principal is Lynn Weed, and the title of his piece is Chandler Portals. In first place for the kindergarten through 4th grade level, we have Harni Adivarhan, a 3rd grader at Knox Gifted. Teacher is Miss Barakate. Principal is Lynn Weed, and the title of her piece is Different But One. In the 5th through 8th grade level, in third place, we have Arias Paris, 7th grader at Willis Junior High. Teacher is Amy McPherson. Principal is Jeff Delp. Title of her piece is Out of 1 out of many, we are one. Place, we have Tyler Wong, sixth grader at Knox Gifted. Teacher is Mary Shalasky. Principal is Lynn Weeds, and the title of his piece is United Together. In first place for the 5th through 8th grade level, we have Alexia Garde, 7th grader at Willis Junior High. Teacher is also Miss Amy McPherson. Principal is Jack Delp. Title of her piece is Different Races Together Around the World. For the final grade level, 9th through 12th grade, in third place, we have Jashri Adivarhan, 11th grader at Hamilton High School. Her teacher is Audra Johnson, Principal Michael Delatorre, and the title of her piece is My Ideal World. Second place, we have Jennifer Cow, 9th grader at Hamilton High School. Teacher is Yi Lily Chen, Principal Michael Delatorre, and the title of her piece is Individually United. And I don't believe she was able to join us today. In first place, we have Amanda Wong, 11th grader at Hamilton High School. Principal Michael Delatorre, One World, One Family is the title of her piece. Congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you to the teachers and the principals who helped the students become involved in this competition. All of the winner entries can be found on the city's websites. Thank you.
So you're not all here for our study session items. All right, Council. We've had a few items also that have been called in for brief presentations and or questions. Start with me. Item number 5, want to thank our good friends from Intel here, and I know that we have another relationship with you around our industrial development revenue bonds, and please give us a brief presentation about this and what this entails and what's going on down there at Intel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Council. You know, I think in politics they say you should never follow children and animals, and I think we just had both. So I've a pretty tough act for me. I should borrow the ostrich costume and do this. As you pointed out, a lot of exciting things happening at Intel right now. We have just entered in our 40th year of manufacturing, in Arizona. And this, of course, would not be possible without the great partnership that we have with the city of Chandler. A lot of that comes from the council, the city manager, assistant city manager, and the rest of staff. I saw Mr. Knudsen back there, who are so great to work with. There's not a single member of Intel who would say otherwise. It's a great partnership, and it's made one thing very clear, that not only is this a great place to work and live, but it's fantastic to do business with the city. So I appreciate this opportunity. First, I want to give some big news. Fab 42, which you've heard much about, is operational. Our CEO recently gave a public interview announcing that the 10 nanometer chips are being produced inside Fab 42. So that is happening, and that is fantastic. As you know, Ocotillo campus is one of the largest, if not the most advanced manufacturing facilities in the world. And these chips, this technology will deliver more features and functional graphics, longer battery life, unique experience to our customers and consumers. Additionally, as a result, Ocotillo remains one of our largest facilities. It has added, I would say, in the last year, about 2,000 employees, bringing our FTE count over 12,000 and counting, which I think on average is about $150,000 mean salary. And we recently enlisted Arizona State University to do an updated economic impact study of what this means to the community. I know some of you may have heard this at a prior meeting, but I'll go ahead and share just a couple highlights from that. According to that study, Intel is responsible for an $8.3 billion annual impact. Over the past 40 years, there's been about $23 billion in capital expenses. We're responsible for $4.5 billion in an annual spend with Arizona-based organizations. We restore 690 million gallons of water through community projects, $35 million in charitable giving since 2014 to local schools and nonprofits, and we have about 750,000 hours of employee volunteer hours at AZ schools and nonprofits. And we are continuing to expand our commitment to sustainability. We currently sit between 75 and 80% of our recyclability of water, where we are treating it and returning it to the community. We're going to get to 100. It's on the horizon. We just added 2 new projects. One, a groundwater supply project near Sienna Creek in Tenque Verde, and an earthen irrigation ditch conversion project just south of the Verde River. Once complete, these 2 projects will restore an estimated 128 million gallons of water to support Arizona's watersheds. So a lot happening. In fact, we just hosted the Vietnamese ambassador the week before last. The only bad news I have to give you today is that production is so heavy. I've been told by our factory manager I can't host any tours for a while, which I'm always trying to invite the mayor, the city manager in. I know, I have no juice down there, unfortunately. So that's the bad news. The good news is we are here asking for the resolution on the bonds. And why I can't get into too much detail about how that's used, it goes to continuing to making our site the most competitive place for Intel to select for business. And there's restrictions on what they can be used for in terms of environmental and utility projects, which benefit the community and benefit the sites as well. With that, I'll take any questions. That was a lot of information.
Council, any questions? No. Thank you so much. We
thank you very much.
Look forward to our continued partnership with Intel.
And thank you for that as well. Thank you.
Next is Councilmember Orlando has a question about the blocks or block rename of Ryan Road between Gilbert and Emmett Drive. Councilmember Orlando.
Mayor, we're good on that. There was no opposition on that one, so we're good on that one.
Great. All right. Item number 7. Again, Councilmember Orlando has a question.
Right. Yeah. So there she is. Dawn's. So Dawn, we talked a little bit earlier today. Can you go over this program a little bit? And I know coding is and software. Anytime it's expensive, and I understand why we have to go back for additional dollars. But what's the status of this program? What are we doing, and what's the end game here?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, I'd be happy to answer that question. We're really excited about this project. When the state took over the Transaction Privilege Tax Administration in 2017, Our very talented developers in our internal IT team helped us create an internal system to manage business registrations, specialty licenses that we're still required to continue to manage, as well as, I keep seeing myself there, I'm gonna turn this off, I apologize, as well as business registrations, specialty licenses, as well as the state data that is coming into us on a weekly basis from the tax, transaction privilege taxes that are being managed at Arizona Department of Revenue now. So it allows us then to match our business registration data to a tax license at the state level, and when there is not a match, it helps us identify businesses and help educate on becoming compliant under the tax code. It's worked out very, very well for us, but one of our next steps, of course, is to try to put this online to make it easier for our business community. So we are working with IT and the vendor Parsis Solutions LLC to help us write code that will create an online, a very innovative online wizard that will allow a business to upload documents, to apply for business registrations or specialty licenses, and it will eliminate paper mailings of many different types, as well as they're having to come in and work face-to-face, you know, with someone over the counter. So we're very excited about this. It's really not like no other development we have on our city website, but it'll be a wizard that just walks them through each of the steps to fill in their information. Very streamlined. They can actually print off their certificate at the end once it's approved, do their renewal on an annual basis without the city having to do numerous mailings on each year. So with that, of course, Parsis is working on that code, and we've had significant resource turnover issues that have required us, frankly, to move some of the development that we anticipated our existing IT staff to do over to the vendor. So that was a need for additional dollars on this project, but we're hoping that this will go live prior to the end of this fiscal year, and it should be a really nice addition for online service for our businesses.
So I guess my next question is, since this is unique, I'm assuming there might be other cities that want to do this.
Mhm.
So is this proprietary to us? And if this vendor wants to sell us in the future, do we have a relationship with them? Or I guess I'm trying to figure out the next step just in case.
So through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, that is a great question. Our contract we do own the code when this project is completed, so it is not going to be available for other cities to use. They may really like our functionality and may reach out to Parsis to help them develop something similar, but this will be very specific to the city of Chandler.
Okay. Well, if we need to license it or something, let us know. We'll have to get the city attorney working on that one. So
Okay.
we could generate revenue that way, right? So it's not a bad idea. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you,
It's a
Councilman.
great program, great project. Appreciate it.
Any additional questions related to this? I was hoping there was going to be wizards, real wizards. You mentioned that in there.
You never know.
You never know. Next question, actually presentation, item number 8, Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to get a little background on kind of where we're headed with the recycling, and understand that there's some challenges with other places buying our recycling goods overseas, and it's creating some pressure on our recycling system, not just here, but nationwide. And so if you could give us a little background on that and the steps that we're taking to mitigate some of that issue.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to just give you a real quick presentation on the recycling program. I can get this thing going. Sorry, Matt. It just kind of died on. Okay, Just a quick history on the recycling program. We started a recycling program in early 1990s. We had a few drop-off stations within the city. There were large 3-yard bins, and it was just that each bin had a separate material you could place into it. We started our curbside recycling program in 1995. With that, we had started our recycling contracts as well. The recycling contracts are the contracts we use for the facilities to process that recycled material for us. 1995 through 2018, everything was looking really good. We were getting actually paid per ton of material we delivered to these facilities, a flat rate, until 2018. And then 2018, it shifted from collecting revenue per ton to paying fees and also receiving a revenue share back from the facility that's processing the material. 2018, the reason that changed is because a large amount of recyclable material was going to China at the time, not only in the United States, but across the world. They increased the restrictions on how clean the material had to be when they received the material. And basically, it just reduced the flows going into China. Supply stayed the same, demand went down, prices for the commodities that they purchased decreased, and those costs were spread back to the cities that deliver the material to the recycling facilities. It also is going to increase the contamination rate because material has to be much cleaner, so we need to work on that as well. This graph just kind of gives you an idea of the history of the recycling revenue we collected over the years. In 2017, April of 17 and April 2017 through March of 18, we collected $25.50 per ton. And that's before China's restrictions were implemented. And then after that, you could see it's gone down every single year. We went from collecting revenue to having to pay for recycled material in March of 2019. But if you see at the very far column there, it was still cheaper at that time than it is to dispose of the material. And then with the new amendment, the extension for our existing contract, it's going to cost us more to recycle than it would to dispose of the material.
Excuse me. So in looking at that chart, there's a $40 contamination fee. Is that the new? Is that what really kicking this price up? So we just need to provide cleaner, or does it matter to the mix of the recycling materials that we put in? Like, is cardboard? Are we getting more money for cardboard? Or are we getting less money for metals, glass?
Yeah, each commodity is separate, so each commodity has its own value. But with that contamination fee is actually having to dispose of the material that's placed in the blue bins, transferred to the facilities, and it's trash, so they have to send that to Butterfield. So that's the extra cost for that.
Thank
so
you.
It's really not any particular commodity, it's just the overall deliveries to the facility.
So as a community, we need to do a little better job of making sure that we don't put pizza boxes in the okay. And
Absolutely.
That's a very minor example, but there's a lot more that I'm sure we can do, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of the things we've done, we worked really hard over the last 2 years to evaluate different options that we could use to mitigate those costs. Our purchasing division and solid waste services has been working on this since 2017 when we first heard about this. You know, we did a request when we first heard about the increased recycling cost. We requested quotes from all the major regional recycling processor. We didn't receive any quotes during that time. 2018, we requested a request for proposal for processing recycling material. We only received 2 proposals, went with the best one. And then 2019, staff has been meeting with the major players in the recycling world to see if there's any options we could explore. And we also have been meeting regionally with other different cities, talking about different options. Maybe we can help each other solve the problem. So we've been discussing different options. And then we also conducted a survey in January 2020 and showed a strong support among the residents to continue recycling. And the question was posed that if recycling costs can continue to increase, are you still willing to recycle? And 81% of the respondents said they were. So we had a pretty positive result from there. So really, after all that work, unfortunately, there's 2 options we have to consider. The first would be hauling and recycling material to the landfill. That is a short-term solution because we have a contract with Waste Management right now that contract stipulates that we deliver that material to United Fibers. If we change that location, we'll probably have to renegotiate that contract to get a longer-term solution. And the other option would be renew the recycling contract. It's gonna, again, cost more than it would to dispose of it. There's no minimum or maximum tonnage requirements to that contract. So we're not required to deliver any minimum tonnage to it. And then it also give us some time to continue to look at different cost saving measures. So the recommendation that we're presenting forward for your consideration, number one, we have to rebrand. We have to really start hitting education hard. We're going to have to, we're working with our communication fair group right now to kind of get some social media messages and some other messages that will help us do that. We also are going to continue to meet with other cities and talk about different regional opportunities we might have in the future. And again, our February 27th on the council agenda is for your consideration is to renew our recycling contract to allow us to do those other things.
Thank you for that. That was a great presentation. I appreciate it. And it helps me understand kind of where we're headed, and hopefully we can educate our community a little bit more. I know I need some education on how to do recycling all the time. My wife always says, you know, if you're going to waste as much water washing out a glass jar as you would as recycling, you know, you need to be mindful of that. So hopefully we're putting some things together for that. So your recommendation is to move forward with the $1.2 million increase in fees to continue doing that.
It's not, yeah, that's our new cost, but it's
Right,
not going
that's
to
what I mean.
increase the
Yeah.
residents.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, any other questions related to this item? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item for question is item number 15, Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, Mayor. I asked the police chief or someone from their organization if they would give us a presentation of what we're doing here, and this looks like a good thing, so I want to tout the good thing.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and Councilman Orlando. Specifically, you had a question about this vehicle. And essentially, it is a mobile command vehicle that will be used primarily by members of our crisis and hostage negotiations team. These are officers that are specially trained in diffusing, de-escalating, and bringing a peaceful resolution to a barricaded or a barricade subject, essentially. So there are other purposes for this vehicle as well, though. While primarily intended for negotiations, it could also be used by members of our detectives unit that belong to the regional CART team, the Child Abduction Response Team. This is a group of cities that are regionally that come together in the event of a child abduction. So it's a perfect application, a perfect platform to help with those protracted type of events. The vehicle itself is a 20-foot box truck. It's built on a Ford F-550 chassis. It will contain a variety of different workstations, different technologies, different storage generators, and an array of different communication equipment. And the vehicle is funded entirely from a grant that we received from the Gila River Indian community. This new vehicle is replacing an old vehicle that was first purchased in 2006, which was also funded by a grant from the Gila River Indian community. So we were absolutely thrilled to have this opportunity to bring this new platform here in our city and help us ultimately keep our folks safe.
Chief, and thank the Gila River Indian community for obviously supporting this. It's an important effort, and you know we upgraded this, a 14-year-old vehicle, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. And I believe there's one last item that's been called in. Again, Councilmember Orlando, item number 19.
No, this was, thank you, Mayor. I got my answer on this one as well, but this is another joint project with Intel. We have to pump a whole bunch of water to a brining location, and Intel funds the operation maintenance of this, and we're just there to take care of the contract. So again, another great joint project with you guys, and been out there a few times, and I was invited to go out there again. So maybe I'll take John Knutsen's up on that and go on out there and see what the brine's doing today. Thank you.
You can make some, maybe some coleslaw or some sauerkraut there with the brine.
Don't know if we want.
Council, any additional questions related to our agenda for Thursday? All right, seeing none, that concludes our study session tonight.